where we share ideas and recipes on how you can stay healthy naturally. So today, I am your coach here at Healthy Food Place. Grace Enemali is my name. So today I want to briefly share with us on top healthy foods, 9 healthy foods to avoid during pains and inflammations. And what exactly are these healthy foods? And why do I say healthy foods? We have our own definition of healthy foods here. Healthy foods includes all natural foods, all unprocessed foods, all the foods that are about 90 or 85% in their natural states. These are natural foods. Foods without colorings, flavorings, and preservatives. All of them are in this category. Most of these healthy foods are very healthy for you and I. So talking of the healthy foods, top healthy foods to avoid, 9 healthy foods to avoid during pains and inflammations. The healthy foods are those foods that are natural, without colorings, flavorings, or any form of preservatives, or rather about 80% or 85% natural. There are some few that are mildly processed. It may not be always, all the time, we get it 100% from the farm, but highly processed, you are welcome. Highly processed foods are not in the category or my definition of healthy foods. And so I want to share with us some of the healthy foods, those that fall into category and that we eat often, we consume, and they are healthy in the terms of being healthy. But during pains, we should avoid them. Now, during pains and inflammation, it's usually difficult to get something to eat that wouldn't aggravate that pain, especially if you're already feeling the pain. Now, what are the examples of some of these pains? These pains affects everyone, including the children. All kinds of pains. But the most common pains that are often complained about are joint pains, toothaches, sore throat, body pain, general body pains, waist pains, backache. They are all in the category of pains. And there is actually no pain that's more painful than the other until you have experienced it, like I said in the last life. So you can't say because you have not experienced a particular aspect of it that that it is not as serious as your own pain that you are experiencing. But it is important to understand that during pains, it seems to be that the more medications you take, the more you experience pains, because most of the things we take will still require food in our body to work with, because there's no amount of medications that you take that will not need you to consume food. And that is why food is so important. So here are these top healthy foods. Number 1, beans. When we talk of beans, there are very different varieties of beans. Beans is a healthy food. It's rich in protein, and a lot of people depend on it for their daily protein. It's actually a source of magnesium, especially black-eyed cowpea, as I've often said. All kinds of beans in the bean family they are healthy. They are a good source of protein. And protein, as we often know, we've often been told here, is the building block. Without protein, your body cannot repair the dead cells. So it's a building block. We need daily protein. But during pains, why should beans be out? The reason why you need to stay off beans is because it is inflammatory. Number one. Number two is because it's not even a complete food. So the body may not use it to do the work without the other amino acids that are needed. And when those amino acids are not present, the beans becomes easily toxic in the body. And then that will increase our pain. And so, because it's also very high in carbohydrates, a lot of people have the belief or the notion that beans is basically protein, but beans is quite high in carbohydrates. And so when going through pains, our body is not usually in the best state to handle high calories. It's not in the best state to handle high carbohydrates foods like beans. So this is a bad news for lovers of beans, including my good self. So during pains, you need to stay off it temporarily. Another reason why you need to also avoid it is because there is a lot of waste that the body produces during beans digestion, and that affects the kidney, that affects the liver is involved in this process, the kidney is involved. And when we are going through pains, despite that it may not be all part of the body, but the entire body is in one way or the other affected or feeling it too. And so it's not a time to place heavy load on the body. And so when we consume high amount of beans when we are going through pains, so much waste will be generated. And how do we take out this waste? That is where toxicity builds up, and that adds to increase the pain. During pains, we are not expected to increase toxins in the body. If you have a way to remove toxins, it will reduce your pain. Because one of the biggest challenges that our body goes through on a daily basis is removal of toxins, excess waste that are generated during metabolic process and other processes in the body. So you understand why beans should not be in the list until your pain is over. There could be other sources of what beans is giving you. Another food to avoid is peanuts. Yes, peanut is a natural food. It's a healthy food. It's rich in protein and a lot of other minerals that helps the body. But during pains, during inflammations, we should stay off peanuts, especially fried peanuts. Whether it's peanut butter, the advice is to stay off peanuts and all its derivatives because it's high in omega-6. And most times, our body is already saturated with omega-6 fatty acids. And when you bring in peanuts, the excess of the omega-6 increases the pain. When you bring in peanuts is naturally inflammatory, and so it's going to cause your pain to increase. It's not going to reduce it. And it's not a source of antibacterial and antifungal food. I mean, nutrients. There are nutrients, there are foods that naturally have antifungal properties. Peanut is not in that list. There are food that help to fight fungus. Peanut is not in that list. And so, anything that will reduce the activity of fungus and candida is a welcome food. But unfortunately, peanut is not in that list. And so, during pains, when you are experiencing pain, any of these pains I mentioned, temporarily stay off peanuts, whether it's toothache, whether it's sore throat, backache, waist pain. You must avoid peanuts for the meantime until your pain is over. The next food you must avoid during pains is milk. A lot of us love milk a lot. It's high in calcium, high a lot of other vitamins and minerals. And incidentally, it's also complete, talking of amino acids. And so, but why should we avoid it? You need to avoid it because it's not only high in sugar, but it's also a food that helps to feed yeast and will help to clog arteries. When you are managing pains and inflammations, you don't include foods that will clog the arteries. Rather, you should include foods that will help open up your arteries and food also that will help to improve blood circulation. But unfortunately, milk is not in that list. Though it's high in nutrients, it's high in vitamins, minerals, and calcium, which we need on a daily basis, and even protein too. But during pains, if you go there, it's going to increase your pains because of its inflammatory nature. It's a food also that helps to feed yeast because most of the milk comes with sugar, added sugar. They are mildly processed, and so it's going to increase your pain because of the inflammatory nature. It's also a source of food for the bugs. It will help to clog the arteries. Next food is red palm oil. Red palm oil is a great food, natural, good source of nutrients that helps us when we are in good health. But unfortunately, it's a source of palmitic acid. When we are experiencing pains, when we are going through inflammations, you must also stay off temporarily. It's also a source of saturated fat. Saturated fat naturally occurring, and they will not help your pains. It's going to add weight. It's going to add heavy weight and calorie on the body and the pains also. And that will not help your pains. There are other foods that can supply you what you are getting from the red palm oil. It's a healthy food, but when you are going through pains, you need to stay off temporarily in order for, until you're okay, you're welcome, until your pain is over. Another food, the fifth one is here, is grains. Now, a lot of us are often deceived during pains to consume grains because we can take them as pap, we can take them, it tastes light. You will feel it's light naturally, but it's actually not light. It's highly acidic. A majority of them are also source of gluten. And the presence of gluten will not help your pains. It's going to definitely increase your pains. So during pains and inflammations, you must stay off most of these grains because they will increase your pain. And what are these grains? The most common ones here are corn, whether it's yellow corn, whether it's white corn, or other colors, millet, sorghum, whether it's sorghum by color, sorghum joa, all kinds of grains. You must also stay away. Although millet is not so much high in the gluten, but you must stay away too, including Quaker oats. Your much loved oats needs to be kept aside during pains, my dear, or reduced if you must take it, because most of the oats have traces of gluten, and besides that, they also mildly inflammatory and also will increase your pain. Though they have other minerals, other vitamins that are great in magnesium, great in calcium, and even source of protein. But during pains, you must stay off your grains until your pain is over, because they will definitely increase your pain, these grains. During pains, you need to also stay away from caffeinated teas. Yes, you heard me. Teas are quite light. During pains, we tend to look for things that are easy to consume. Teas like black teas. These are examples of teas that are high in caffeine. Even green tea should be avoided. Coffee should be avoided. And not only the caffeinated teas and beverages, but all other sources of caffeine should be avoided. Why? Because they do not contain significant amount of nutrients that you need for your healing. Because a source of nutrients that will help to reduce the caffeine in it, will reduce the fluid in the cells. The fluid in your cell are needed to help reduce your pain. But when the fluid is reduced, you definitely will need additional fluid or water in order to meet up the requirement of what the body is demanding from you. So you definitely wouldn't need to add caffeinated teas, though they taste lighter, easier, but they are also in the acidic category, especially black teas. There are other teas that you can also take that can help to reduce your pain. That are, thank you, you're welcome, all of you in the house. Teas, you don't need to take black tea, don't need to take green tea, don't need to take coffee, because they not only reduce the amount of fluid in the cells, deep down in the cells, but they also reduce your calcium. That's what recent study is saying. And so, calcium is an electrolyte that you need daily. And so when you continue to consume caffeinated teas and beverages during your pains, it's going to increase your pain. There are teas that you can take, light teas that can help you, like that are naturally caffeine free. You can take teas like lemongrass. It can help to reduce your pain. You can also take other teas like guava leaf tea. It's not a source of caffeine. It's not going to increase your pain. You can take teas like soursop leaf tea. It's not a source of caffeine. It's not going to increase your pain. And even if you are managing high blood pressure, it's going to help to reduce it. There are several other teas that you can take, like fennel tea, cumin tea, fenugreek seed tea, several teas that are naturally caffeine-free that you can take without indulging in the popular teas that we are familiar with that contains caffeine. You can also make a tea out of pomegranate leaves or dried pomegranate powder, which is also naturally caffeine-free. You can also make a tea out of beets powder, which is naturally caffeine-free. You can make a tea out of black seed. You are welcome to the house, all of you that are coming in. You can also make a tea out of black seed. It's naturally caffeine-free. There are a host of other teas that you can take to support your immune system during pain without naturally feeding the pain. After taking some of the teas, if you are ignorant of what that tea will do to you, it's definitely going to increase your pain. Teas like ginger and turmeric combined are naturally caffeine-free, and they won't increase your pain. They will reduce your pain, but you must also take them with caution because they are great blood thinners. And so you mustn't take it too much. And sometimes, if necessary, you can add some other things like date powder or some other buffers, natural food that can provide a buffer to protect the delicate walls of your intestine because they are quite sharp. So you don't just begin to consume them like that because they are blood thinners. Though they are not source of caffeine, but they have an aspect that you must also beware or be careful with. But they cannot increase your pain. You also need to reduce refined table salt. Refined table salt, yes, it's a healthy food because it's mostly available. A lot of us use it in cooking, but when you are going through pain, my dear, you need salts like sea salt that are higher in minerals. They have over 82 nutrients without calorie that can help you. If you can take it. Georgiana, you are welcome. Thank you for your comments. I appreciate you all. And for your comments, I appreciate you. So when you are going through pain, you need to also stay away from this category of foods, because when you consume the blood thinners in high amounts, it's definitely going to hurt you because of the delicate walls of your intestine. And if you are even going through pains, you may begin to think that they are increasing your pain. Yes, because of the sharpness of this combination of ginger and turmeric. Yes, because of this combination. And so you shouldn't get it wrong. If you have knowledge, you will understand what is going on and wouldn't allow that to discourage you. And you shouldn't take it in large amount because they are powerful blood thinners when combined together, but they can also kill your pain. They can help to, whether you apply it topically by combining it with another carrier, or using the essential oil, applying topically, inhaling it using the essential oil, or whichever way, they can help to reduce your pain. And as a matter of fact, most of these inflammations or pains have their origin or their roots inside with some of our key organs, but manifesting outwardly. like the liver, for instance. You may be having an inflammation on your foot, your left foot, for instance, but it took its root from somewhere, right from the liver or other organs, pancreas or whatever. And so we need to watch these foods when we are experiencing pain so that we do not feed the pain and increase it. Refined table salt should be taken out also because it's acidic. It will increase your pain, though it's light, because it doesn't have anything to offer you except to help to maybe improve the taste of your meal. But you need to also take it out because it's not going to help your pain. It's not going to add anything to you, but rather it will add more acids to the existing acids in the body. Another food that you also need to avoid during pains, very healthy food, is soya beans. Yes, soya beans is a healthy food. I love it. I always have it at home. And it's complete in amino acids. It's among the plant foods, based foods, proteins, it's the only one with complete amino acids. I know what that means. What it means is that when you consume a good soya beans or well processed, it's actually going to, thank you, Sister Deborah Fayoshe, for your comments. I'll be looking at it. But when you are actually using the sea salt to cook, I think I'll try to mix it up here, trying to looking at the comment there. But when you are managing pains and inflammations and you trying to use things like the refined table salt, I'm now switching to that, your comment slightly. Blessing, you're welcome. Sister Georgiana, you're welcome. My sister Deborah Fayoshe, you're also welcome. I'm just coming into the house, you're welcome. So when you are managing pains and inflammations, you need to take out those ones that will increase the acids in the body. Because the more the acids, the more the pains. It's not, if you know the foods to take out, it's going to work well for you. Yes, actually was talking about soya beans before my sister dropped that comment. So soya beans is complete in amino acids, and it's one of the foods I actually use. I include it when I'm trying to avoid animal protein for one or two reasons, or temporarily. I normally switch also to soya beans temporarily because it's complete in amino acids. And I was trying to explain what being complete in amino acids is all about. It's actually saying that when you consume that food, its absorption, its usage in your body is complete. It doesn't have to wait for other amino acids to help it to do its job. Foods like corn, sorghum, pap, they are not complete, just inflammatory. But despite the healthy nature of the soya beans, which I also love to include, it's great for your skin, high in calcium, high in protein, a lot of vitamin, magnesium, good for heart health. But when you are going through pains, you must take it out because it's high in phytic acid. And not only the phytic acid, it's difficult to digest. And that difficulty in digestion also increases your pain. Another reason is soya beans is naturally inflammatory. Yes, it's naturally inflammatory. And another reason to take it out, I've experienced it before, is that it's high in iron. And so when you consume foods that are high in iron during pains, your pain, especially for older adults, your pains will increase because the iron absorption will require another iron, either positive or negative iron, but it will require another iron for the body to take it in. And when it's not, like vitamin C will be needed for the absorption of the iron. And when the body does not have enough vitamin C, remember that vitamin C is a water soluble vitamin. So vitamin C does not need storage, have a storage in the body. And so it's a daily something that you must take. And so when you don't have it in stock and you are consuming high iron food that is high in iron like soya beans, it's going to cause more toxins in the building up, and it's going to increase your pain. Despite that it is naturally inflammatory, it's going to increase your pain because of the high iron content in it. And if that iron is not taken in, it's not absorbed, it will become toxic. That is the nature of iron. And that is why I have often advised us that you should avoid multivitamins, especially during pains. Don't say, okay, since I'm not taking all of this, let me take a multivitamin or iron tablet. If you take iron tablet, it's going to worsen your pain. If you didn't even have any pain before, there will be an onset of pain. You're preparing an inflammatory ground for pain to take off. When you start consuming multivitamins, you start consuming all those iron tablets, because maybe you have been advised not to take soya beans, not to take beans, not to take, meat, some other food that you are expecting. And so maybe you are even worried. You could be worried. If you won't be short of iron if you do not have any infection that is consuming the iron in your body. You won't. Because the iron is going to recycle again once the disease or whatever goes out. It's not like vitamin C that you need daily replenishment of it. It's not like vitamin B, which you need daily. It's water soluble too for energy. It's not like the water soluble vitamins. So you don't need to be worried that you're going to be short of it. And then you want to quickly go for multivitamins, iron tablets, and all this stuff in order to help you to have enough iron. You will always have sufficient iron. The seeds and spices, the little low-calorie foods and vegetables and fruits that we're taking are enough. And one point also I need us to know is that older adults, we don't need much iron. Much iron will create environment for bacterial infestation. If you try to supply yourself extra iron, you don't need it. You don't need iron much at when you are getting old. You need more of antioxidants to help to neutralize free radicals. And what are these antioxidants? The antioxidants are basically vitamins A, C, D, E, and sometimes you can add K too. But the main antioxidants are vitamins A, vitamin D, C, vitamin E. These are the antioxidants that we need more of it. And so we should focus on foods that have these things. and not much on protein as in soya beans. So it's one of the foods we should take out if we are experiencing pains. So look at my sisters. You said, please repeat this. Avoid refined table salt and take which, please take, okay. You want me to briefly highlight on reducing the refined table salt? Yes, and take sea salt. Natural sea salt is loaded with micronutrients that helps with your bones, that helps to aid digestion. You can even use it to gargle, even if you are not cooking with it. But it's best to cook with it because it will supply you most of the micronutrients. Those micronutrients that are needed. By micronutrients, I'm talking about those nutrients that you need in very small amount. You don't need much of it. They are not major like proteins, but they are very minute. But absence of them can actually cause problems to us. But though they are needed in small amount. We don't need much of zinc, for instance. But if it's not there, brains will be affected, fertility will be affected, every immune system will be affected. That is how most minute minerals are. And so you get most of these minute minerals, you can find them in natural sea salt. And so it will going to supply a lot of them. And that will help to reduce your pain without adding calorie. If you don't want to, if you are not cooking with it, for instance, you can use it to gargle. It does a lot in reducing pains and strengthening your bones. My sister, Mommy Fayoshe, you said, I do use sea salt in cooking, but I read it in a write-up that it's not good for people that are hypertensive. Yes, my dear, I'm happy that you are present here to ask that question. You know that we have a lot of information out there, but most of the people that give out the information, they don't have it from good authority, and some are not even experienced in it. But I can tell you that one of the things that helps hypertensive to cure fast is sea salt. I tell you, it's sea salt. And now I've also heard a woman that is far older than myself speaking on the impact of sea salt on managing high blood pressure. In fact, she was even saying that when they bring people to her with high blood pressure, the first thing she does is to place them on the sea salt. On the sea salt, both for diabetes. But some people give out some information for commercial, purpose. Some people give out some information in order to destroy another business and say that their own is better for commercial reasons. But I'm giving out my own information based on the fact that it's something I've been using for the past 13 years. I have not used any multivitamin for the past 13 years. I have not bought any blood tonic or anything for my entire household. And I know the impact of the sea salt when I use it. Whenever pain wants to come, you can use it to soak your legs. It may look like a waste, but a lot of toxins will go out from there because it's not acidic. And it's going to supply some of the nutrients that are needed. It's something that I do. So it's not that somebody told me or I read it somewhere. It's one thing to read something on social media. It's also one thing for somebody to tell you that that's what he is doing. And in the reasons, it may not be. It may be for commercial purpose, for gains, for business purpose. But I am sharing exactly what I have been using, and I have not had any issue with high blood pressure. And all those that are also using it who are close to me have the same, even when the high blood pressure occurs for other reasons, which, which for other reasons, which could cause it. If you're on sea salt, you don't need to be worried because it's going to be over very soon if you are following other things. I do not think that blood pressure should be an issue with any of us who have been following, except you have been taking blood tonics, multivitamins, taking other things, doing several other things that I'm not even aware of, which some of us are doing. I am not a citadel of all the knowledge, but based on the experience I already have, I can tell you that sea salt is one of the best kitchen ingredients you should have at all times, because it's not not acidic. There are other types of, some say, I've also read some articles saying Himalayan sea salt is better. I've already heard all kinds of, articles, but they are writing probably based on the fact from their own direction. Either they have been using it, or they have not even used it or seen it, somebody told them, or they are doing the business and they want it to thrive. These are two options, two ideas. So my dear, you don't need to worry that it is not good for high blood pressure. And let no one deceive you to switch from sea salt to refined table salt. So we are actually saying that the food that you should avoid. I have one more here on our list. We have talked about refined table salt, but the last one we need to also avoid is yam. Yes, this may not be common or familiar with people who are outside the country, who are watching me. If you are far away in other countries, you may not get it, but because it is one of the foods that is a staple here, a lot of people still consume it. When you are experiencing things like coughing, you should stay away from inflammatory foods like that. When you are experiencing pains, you should also stay away. It's very high in sugar, similar to rice. Though it's a source of omega-3, but it's very high in sugar, especially simple sugars. You may also not believe what I'm saying until you have tried it and gone to check your blood sugar. Although there are different species of yam. We have the water yam, we have the white yam, and all kinds of varieties. But the water yam is actually not a bad one. It's better for those who are managing blood sugar, for menopausal women, for estrogen, hormonal issues, and all time. Okay, and all of such. So, okay, the comment says, thanks for this information. I don't take any multivitamin. I just need to ask the question. It's not that I have to say, okay, yes, thank you. I'm happy that you have been attended to and you are all satisfied with it. So these top foods, various other foods that you actually need to, I will have added tomatoes, but some people, that of tomatoes does not affect everybody. It's a healthy food. But those who are going through pains should also take it in moderation. I did not include tomatoes in the list because some people have different from my own investigation, some people have different experiences. I don't use it for long. It affects me. I use it moderately. But when I take it at night, though it's fresh tomatoes, if I take it like for 2 days or 3 days and I continue taking it, it normally doesn't go well with me. And I have found out that it doesn't affect other people like that. There are some people who are doing fine, very great. They don't have any issues because it's a great food for clearing of arteries. Clogged arteries is one of the best foods to contact if you suspect your arteries are clogged. And it's one of the very healthy foods I should be recommending for older adults, for matured adults, to include fresh tomatoes regularly. Remember that canned tomatoes, tomato paste, and all of those are not in the list of our healthy foods. So when I talk of healthy foods, it's not in the list. I don't take canned tomatoes. I don't take tinned tomatoes. Only fresh tomatoes. But even that fresh tomatoes also, for those who are going through pains, they must also be cautious with it. Don't take don't take tomatoes too much. You can take cayenne pepper instead. It's going to help your pains. But if you are wanting to prepare your tomatoes, your stew or whatever, instead of putting more tomatoes, if you are experiencing pains, put more of the cayenne pepper and let the tomatoes be very small, because the cayenne pepper will reduce your pain. It's going to open up your arteries. It's low in calories. It's going to improve blood circulation, and above all, it's going to reduce your pain. So you can, when next you want to cook with it, you can reduce the tomatoes instead of increasing it, and put more of the cayenne pepper as something to help to reduce your pain. Other spices does not work that way. Black pepper doesn't work that way. There are a lot of peppers also in the market. But if you take too much of the peppers, it's going to increase your pain, because pepper is a stressor. But the only pepper that is exempted is the cayenne pepper, the popular pepper we call shombo here in Lagos or around here in Nigeria. It wasn't so popular before, but with awareness, with education as we're doing, it's becoming more popular because it's a pain-reducing food. If you're going through pain, add more of cayenne pepper, not all the other peppers. More of cayenne pepper. And if you must take your tomatoes, you must take it in small portion amount, because tomatoes is also a healthy food, but it's not in the class of foods that helps to reduce your pain. There are other foods. There are a lot of other foods like the garden egg. The garden egg is a healthy food. It's a superfood. It's a natural food. I mean, when I say it's a healthy food, it's low in calorie. But if you are going through pains, my dear, you have to either stop the eggplant, or you just take it sparingly, because it's going to increase your pain. Instead of going for it, you can go for other pain-killing foods like pineapple. Pineapple can help to reduce your pain if you take it in moderation. And whatever one you are told that works for pains, you must remember that moderation is our rule. If you take it in excess, for instance, the pineapple is a pain-reducing food. It has a natural and unique nutrient in it, which you cannot find in other, apart from being a source of sulfur, just like garlic. It's also a source of bromelain. And bromelain is not in other fruits, but that bromelain can help to reduced acidity that is caused by undigested beans and proteins that may have even been there causing you or increasing your pain. But when you take it in excess, for instance, if you take the pineapple in excess, it's going to add more sugar to your blood. And when the sugar is much, inflammation will take off and your pain will increase. So remember that moderation is our rule. You have to stay away from these healthy foods and any other food that your body must have given you an indication that it's not okay for you. You must listen to your body, because your body can't go wrong. It will tell you if that food, when you consume that food in small amounts and you started experiencing that little ache increasing, that's a sign of inflammation. And you don't need me, you don't need a doctor, you don't need a dietitian to tell you that that food is not going to work for you. Though it may have worked for Mr. A, for Mr. B. Okay, my sister Georgiana is asking another question here. He said, how do you see using clove for reducing of pains, and how does it affect inflammation? Okay, that's a very good question. You know that it's not possible for me to exhaust all the topics, but clove is a powerful, one of the most powerful food for spices for fighting inflammations. Now, but one thing about using these spices is that you must understand their ugly sides too. Clove, one thing I love about cloves, and I'm also always afraid of it, taking it too much, because it's a powerful blood thinner. I have used it effectively on several occasions to ward off headache, ward off fever, ward off a lot of things. Only that those who are experiencing high blood pressure should not make cloves their friend, because of the way the cloves works. It's going to increase your blood pressure. If you doubt me, you can go and test it. But one thing I do suggest, advice, is that you don't have to take it out of your diet too much. But those who will benefit more from it are those who are experiencing low blood pressure. Like in my own case, my blood pressure is usually 110, 100, and all of that. So I can go along and play with the cloves. But I tell you some outstanding things about cloves, since you have mentioned it. Though it's a pain reducing food, it's one of the top foods that helps, that you can consume or chew it. Chew it moderately. 2 or 3 is okay. Honestly speaking, in the morning, it doesn't work so fast. So you don't have to take it and expect instant results. Why? It supports your liver. It helps. It's a great food for your liver. I can tell you this because I've tested it. And once your liver is working fine, you are going to be fine. It's a matter of time. I give you 2-3 days. Once the liver is fixed, every other thing will start working for you. It's a matter of hours or days. You will just be fine. And one thing about cloves is a bone strengthening food. And any food that strengthens bones, my dear, stay close to that food, because our bone is everything. We must guard against our bone, because it is even the bone that is housing the heart, that carries the heart, carries the brain. Everything is about our bone. And so when the bone density is destroyed, Even the the blood pressure cannot be effectively managed with very low level of calcium. If the bone density, for instance, is destroyed, there's a lot of problems. But if you take the cloves too frequently, because it's a blood thinner, you're not going to feel well. It's going to kind of destroy your immunity, or you're going to work against your immunity. Because being a blood thinner, you need to take it in small amount. For instance, if I want to take it, I can take like 3. And sometimes if I feel my sugar is really high, I can take like just 3, chew it in the morning after water therapy. And in order to let you know that it fights a lot of other forms of inflammations which you can't even see with your eyes. If you're suspecting a mild form of headache, maybe you have done all those head exercise and all of that to improve blood circulation, and you are still feeling somehow acidic, you can also make cloves your friend. Even if you are going, you usually have high blood pressure, you don't have to avoid it because it's a very powerful spice. You can take it cautiously in small amount or for a few days and stay off it. Or you can even take it and later take other foods that lowers blood pressure. People like to combine it. It's now I know why people are combining it with Zobo. They add it to Zobo. Because while Zobo is working to lower your blood pressure, the other one is also on the other side. So when you combine it with certain foods, it's not going to actually cause such a rise in your blood pressure as for you to be concerned about. So when you take it cautiously, chew it, or you can make tea out of it if it's a powder. You shouldn't expect that it will stop the pain immediately. No. It's going to work slowly. It's going to work slowly, and one of the things I like about it is going to be strengthening your bones. Many of you are not already familiar on listening to your body, but I do listen when the bone strengthening is taking place. I do listen, and I do feel it. So you don't have to, it's a great addition, though very tiny. I've been wondering why tiny spices are so dense and so loaded, so powerful. You don't have to neglect it and then take large amount because it's small. And then you are thinking, this small seed, what will this one do for me? Because a lot of our people normally behave like that. You can just say, this thing is too tiny now. 2 can't do anything, or 3 can't do anything. 3 will do a lot in strengthening your bones, in killing off yeast. It doesn't give chance to yeast at all. And some of the yeast are the real thing that are causing pains to increase. If you take something that can help kill them off, strengthen the bones, and then have, naturally occurring ingredients that reduces pains, it's something that you should include. Is good, and you should not take it because it can easily be toxic too. So that's where we shall be ending the live for today, and I want to appreciate you all for coming, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed, or if this is your first time. I appreciate you for coming, for watching, for your time. Till I see you again, keep staying healthy naturally. Food remains our medicine, but moderation is our rule.